everybody, it's Georgia Rose, and I am in the soul space. Oh, it's kind of quiet in the studio tonight. Some of the other people are not coming in, and it's me and Bobby here. And yes, look, I chopped off my hair, about 5 or 6 inches of it. I feel free, and it's kind of in line with what we're talking about tonight because we're letting go and moving on. So, welcome to the show, everybody. I am just going to share the show. You guys know the drill. If you've been regular watchers, you know that we share the show with everybody we can possibly think of to get our viewership down. I'm just going to fix my mic because it's actually in my face. Maybe I'll move over a little bit. Okay. Am I still in line, Bob? Um, so, if you want to share the show, I would love you all for that. And there we go. Okay, so some of you on the way over here were texting me. Can you guys hear me? Because this, oh, there we go. Some of you on the way over here were texting me, which I don't answer phone calls between 6 and 8 on Monday evening. So guess why? Because I'm in the soul space. So you were saying you couldn't comment on the link that we put on Facebook. And you can always watch the show on Strong Island Television, on YouTube. You can watch it live also on Facebook if you go to Strong Island, and you can always comment there. You can also call into the show. We'll be putting that number up on the screen tonight. And if you missed the live feed, or if you want to watch part of the show that you missed, or you weren't here for the beginning or something like that, you can always go on to my website, zenkuda.com, where all of the shows are put. And you can also go on my YouTube channel, Zenkuda, and there's a ton of videos there. I make videos about the astrology and other things and all kinds of stuff. So there's all kinds of ways to watch the show. I just was late this evening. I'm sorry. I had a glitch at home. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about the eclipses. We are fully in eclipse season. For those of you who this is the first time you're watching the show, I am Georgia Rose. I'm a psychic astrologer. I use astrology charts as a gateway into people's soul contracts and as a intuitive tool to see where your life path is. So if you'd like a reading with me, you can book that on zenkuda.com. And there's a booking software in there, so you can actually just do everything online, pay, schedule your time with me, and all kinds of stuff. So it's really cool. So I have been doing the soul space for quite a few years now, and the reason why I do the soul space is because I'm trying to inspire and encourage everyone to get in touch with their own soul space, that quiet place within, where your own intuition is and where you can make all of your life decisions. So sometimes on the show we have guests, and sometimes we do astrology, and sometimes we do my trusty tarot cards, but we always do something. So tonight I want to talk about the eclipses, and we are officially in eclipse season. Our first eclipse comes Friday, March 14th, and that is a full moon eclipse in Virgo at 23 degrees. So if you are amateur astrologers, or if you're professional ones, I would suggest looking at your chart and finding out where the houses of Virgo and Pisces are, because those are the houses that are really going to be activated in these eclipses, and also Aries, because we have an Aries solar eclipse on the 29th of this month in March. But first we have to get through the full moon eclipse, lunar eclipse in Virgo, and I'm going to talk about that. So this eclipse is all about releasing, number one, because it's a lunar eclipse, which means it's the moon, and it's also an eclipse where the south node is, so it's all about our past, the things we bring into this lifetime. And the reason why I wanted to do this show today is because I've had a week where, not just in my own personal life, but in all of the people around me, everybody is going through some kind of a release or a moving on situation, or, you know, whether it's through death or loss or just an epiphany that you've had where all of a sudden you really want to change your life. And so I said, I need to do the show about this tonight because it's in real time. So that Virgo Aries houses of the chart is where we're really going to have the most activity right now, because the first eclipse is in Virgo, and then we have another eclipse the end of the month in Aries. Eclipses always come like that. It's lunar and solar. So my first thing for you guys to guidance-wise is journal. If you're not a big journal, use your phones, give yourself voicemail messages, things like that, because I think what you're going to find is that this time period is going to be extremely pivotal for you in 2025 and into 2026, because you're going to go through a metamorphosis and a transformation with these eclipses. I mean, seriously. This is all about embracing an ending to create space for a new beginning. Things are unfolding at a very accelerated rate because Pluto in Aquarius right now is accelerating the breaking up of anything that doesn't serve us or is expired or out of date. You're seeing that play out on the world stage as well. So Pisces is an energy which is the opposite of Virgo. So the sun is in Pisces right now. The moon is in Virgo. That's why we're going to have a full moon eclipse. And eclipses always happen when they're on the nodes, all right? So the moon is on the south node in this eclipse. So this is all about closing and allowing things and the transition to unfold. It's not about taking action. That will come later. But for right now, we really have to focus and maybe journal or give ourselves little voice prompts. You can use the affirmations I do on the show in order to put ourselves in a frame of mind where we're allowing the surrender, we're allowing the release of what has been and what no longer should be. And we're going into the circumstance of not really knowing what the new is, what the unfolding will be, but allowing it, surrendering it. In Virgo, this is about releasing control of perfectionism. It's about really releasing what needs to unfold naturally, not controlling it, not wanting to, manifest something in a way that puts us back in the past. This is about releasing self-criticism, releasing and going into self-acceptance. If you're going through a breakup or if someone just, passed on, sometimes we can have regrets and we can think, oh, I should have done something this way, or, oh, I should have said this or done this. No. This energy is not about that. This energy in Virgo is about releasing those criticisms, releasing that judgment in order to be in alignment with your own self-worth and your own self-acceptance. So the phrase or the prompt, one of the prompts you can use in this energy is, what are the adjustments that I'm making for my future? And it shouldn't be adjustments. I shouldn't say shouldn't. You can do whatever you want. But the higher use of this energy is to make these adjustments so that you are going forward, not making adjustments to get back something you lost. All right. So if there's a habit you're trying to get out of or that you've grown out of, or a person that you're with that you kind of grown out of, but you're going to have that anxiety about the loss, right? So don't make the adjustments that you do, the changes that you make, don't make them because you want to go back. Make them because you want to go forward. Okay. And Bobby, if we could put up all the comments, if there are any, from Facebook and YouTube on the screen, that would really, oh, great. There they are. Love you, love you, love you. So hi, Sarah. Hey, Liz. Cheryl's on and Trisha's on. Hey, everybody. You can put in the comps. Thanks, Liz. You can put in the comps. Liz said she liked my haircut. You put in the comments how you're feeling in this energy. So release control of that perfectionism, because that's what this Virgo is about. And what this full moon eclipse in Virgo is going to do is it's going to set us up to release the things that make us hypercritical about our life, or make us feel judged or uncertain in our own ability. That's Virgo. And Virgo does that. It creates a loss in order to bring us into our own competency, because whatever it is releasing is something that's in the way of you reaching your full potential and full competency. And in the loss, in the abduction of that thing, we find our truth and our strength. We have to go through the loss and the grief first, but we find our truth and our strength. And I'm going to read something to you in a little bit about that exactly. There's a pivotal point. It's shaping 2025. It's about our emotional development. We're just coming off of Mars retrograde in Cancer. And Mars retrograding in Cancer, it's direct now, headed for Leo, which is our inner light, our strength, the sun. But Mars, when it was retrograde, was giving us reflection on places where we had to have emotional maturity and giving us the strength that we need for this time. The universe is very dynamic, and it sets us up for energy that's going to come in the future. So that Mars retrograde that we had for several months was setting us up and giving us the emotional maturity by making us introspective about our actions and our relationships and things like that. So now we got to use those signals and prompts where we're being told to let go, the things that we're being told to release. Our intuition is telling us these things. That emotional development maturity that we had when Mars was retrograde is what's going to help us carry this into the future and release it. And if that makes sense, if that doesn't make total sense now, it will make more sense as we go through this month. Because as I said, Pluto is accelerating it all in Aquarius. And because what it is accelerating is our freedom. It's accelerating the breaking up. Aquarius breaks up energy. Pisces dissolves it. So this is about the universe coming in and saying, hey, this thing no longer is good for you. It's prohibiting your growth. It's prohibiting what your soul really came here to do. And it's going to remove it. And for those of us who can't release something, those of us who can't allow the unfolding, and I'm including myself in that. Sometimes, things I release have claw marks on them. But for those who can't do that, you're going to have a tremendous amount of anxiety. And you're going to have insecurity. And what will probably happen is the universe will force its release if it's in the way of you reaching your full potential. That's just how the universe works. Not to create havoc and not to create pain in our life, but to bring us through the pain into the dark, all right? Think about when the sun sets, right? We have that momentary pang. You ever sit by the ocean or the beach in the summertime and you're watching a beautiful sunset and the orange comes and the reds and the purples and the violets and all these gorgeous colors, and it's so beautiful, and you have those moments where you just don't want the day to end. You don't want the light to end. It's so unbelievably beautiful. And you can almost sometimes on a really hot summer day, almost like I always pretend I can hear the sun going down, like it's sizzling or something, right? And it's just a beautiful thing. But if that didn't happen and the sky didn't grow dark, we'd never see the stars. And that's like this time. Those are eclipses, light and dark, right? The earth is between the sun and the moon in this lunar eclipse. So the sun causes a shadow to go over the moon. And so that's what will happen. And we might be able to see it where we are if it's not too cloudy. So the sun is also conjuncting Saturn in Pisces in this eclipse. All right, the sun is in Pisces, moon is in Virgo. That's why it's a Virgo eclipse, Virgo moon. But when the sun conjuncts Pisces, it doesn't just illuminate, when the sun conjuncts Saturn, I'm sorry, I misspoke, it doesn't just illuminate that. The sun can burn Saturn out. So this is the death of a big cycle. It's the death of the Saturn limitations that we've been feeling these last 18 months or so. And what will happen now is Saturn becomes more reasonable as it heads towards Aries. It starts to set up the structures that we need in order to form what is coming in new during this release period. So Saturn comes in and says, I'm going to limit you and restrict you, and I am the authority, and you can't stay in the past. I'm not going to allow you to be stuck. And we get nervous and we have anxiety and we're like, oh, but I don't know where I'm going and this is really scary and I've never been in that place before. But Saturn says, yeah, you might have some limitations right now, but if you stay here, you'll be flooded over and drown because it's in Pisces. So Pisces is that water that floods in and creates the dissolving, the dissolution of those things that are in our way to great potential. So that's the energy. Is it sad and is it loss? Sometimes yes, but it's about moving on through those shadows. And Mars direct, of course, we talked about, that's giving us the emotional growth. So we've got Pluto accelerating it all, breaking us up things in our life, and it's doing this for freedom. It's doing this to give us liberation and to give us individuation. Hey, Marianne, how are you? I haven't seen you on in a while. I'm glad you're here. So Pluto and Saturn and Mars are all tied into this eclipse. Both of them, the one on the 14th and the one on the 29th. The solar eclipse that happens on the 29th, that's going to show us more of the emergence of the new because it's in Aries, which is a sign of rebirth and new. But the actions and the real solidification, the real structure of these changes don't really come on board until September when we have another series of eclipses. But this is all about, defining a new space forward, with Mars using that emotional growth and maturity that we've been really getting an inkling of the last few months. But also, because it's Mars and because it's Pluto and because it's Saturn and it's in certain planets, Sun and Moon, Sun and Saturn are in Pisces, and it's dissolving things and it's watery and we're not really sure where we're going yet, and Virgo comes in and gives us a little self-doubt, it can make us anxious. And it can make us feel the separation in a very amplified way. But that's because there's wisdom there. That's because if we can be brave enough to really sit in the transition and sit in the loss and the grief, the stars come out and show us a lot of stuff, So stay out of fear. This is a lot of outer planet transits, and outer planets mean it's happening for everyone in the collective. It will take on a personal meaning in your life depending on where in your chart this is happening specifically for you. And I can do that for you in a reading. You just go on zenkuda.com and you can book that. But for the whole globe, for everyone in the collective, we're feeling this energy of dissolution, of upcoming emergence. But we're in the flooding right now. We're in the overwhelm. We want to take action, but we don't really know what to do, and then we regret it a little bit. A perfect example was on the floor of Congress in the United States here, when we had a congressman who spoke out very defiantly during the president's speech. And I'm not being political. You can think whatever you want about that. I have no thoughts about it. But I always watch it against the backdrop and the framework of the astrology. And so here you have someone who emerged in a new way. We don't really see that. It reminded me so much of the Continental Congress. And of course, we're in our Pluto return, the same exact place Pluto was when our country was formed 250 years ago. So it's pretty cool. But I'm watching this unfold. And so this senator comes in and he's, very forceful, and he's shaking his cane and all these things. And then 24 hours goes by and they go to censure him for doing that. And all of a sudden a group comes around him in a big circle and overflows with, support, and starts to sing, "We shall overcome." That's Pisces. It was Aries when he did it, and Pisces when they all did that. You can watch it like literally in real time, the energy on the world just play out. We're going to see a lot more of that. This is going to bring in an energy that can be very chaotic. It's going to bring in an energy where certain people don't want to let go of what's dissolving. And we all know what happens then. We've seen the Titanic. You don't want to go down with the ship. And so stay out of fear. These are slow-moving planets. The planets are coming out of retrogrades, and others are going into retrograde, so they're not quite moving as rapidly as they normally do. So this is a holding pattern. We're going to be in this energy for a while. So find your path forward. Stay in quiet. Stay in meditation. Get in that place where you are preparing yourself for the new energy, because this is pivotal moments of 2025 and into 2026. So I was going through, and it's always so synchronistic, everything in life, if you're open. And I was going through some paperwork today, and I found a blog that I wrote in 2014. Strangely enough, 2014 has been coming into the light for me quite a lot lately. But this particular is called When the Sun Sets, the Darkness Brings the Stars. When the sun sets, the darkness brings the stars. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read some of it because it will bring us into a discussion about how to really deal with grief and why grief is there and why things happen in our life where we experience loss or an abduction. And this is my words from my heart written during that time. And I'm in the process of putting all the blogs on my website. It's probably also going to be a collection in a book, but this is one that I wrote in November of 2014. When the sun sets, the darkness brings the stars. When the darkness came, I was terrified it would last forever. The first blog post from 2014, I'm sorry, I wrote this in 2018. The first blog posts from 2014 are heavy with grief. It took 3 years just to have the courage to allow the world to see my pain, and yet it was still acute. In 2014, I started this mission that is Zenkuda. I was still raw and in a sort of twilight from my 2011 rock bottom, but there was no denying that stars had peeked through my black ceiling, and their light was saving me. When the darkness came, I was terrified it would last forever. But there was no denying that stars had peeked through, and their light was saving me, and I was compelled to write about that miraculous occurrence. If I could give hope, relief to just one person with my stories, then I would gladly suffer mild humiliation and exposure. The belief that no one should ever have to suffer as deeply as I did lit a fire in me, as fiercely bright as the darkness had been dark. It burned just under my ribs, in the hole where my heart used to live, and my heart was gone back then, shattered to pieces. I thought by life events, but later I came to realize it had partly always been my own destructive hands. Poor choices, blindness, fear. They had all decided the course of my life for me. And in a strange way, the darkness finally illuminated the truth. You see, I started to see better in the dark than I ever had in my brilliant life. At my lowest point, after a series of tragedies culminated with some unexpected abandonments, it was as though someone flicked a switch and had plunged me into an abyss. I couldn't find up, I couldn't find out, and I was just free falling. I imagine that to be the most terrifying feeling anyone can ever know. You suddenly have no reality to identify with. You're simply just in the dark, lost and wandering. You can't make sense of anything because everything that ever made sense to you just no longer exists. I've known the definition of nothing with every fiber of my being. Like a blind man reaching out and feeling nothing but space. You can't stop reaching, feeling, hoping. It's your only way out. Maybe sooner or later you'll feel something and it'll show up and it'll show you where up is and the how of the out. So there I was free falling with outstretched arms when I finally found a lifeline. I knew what it felt to be completely hollow. Somehow, although it defies logic, hollow hurts. Like a beast ripping your insides and eating you alive. How can nothing hurt, I used to think, until I realized nothing is the loss of many somethings. And that the beast had a reason and the darkness has a purpose. This realization started to fill that hollow. Suddenly I wasn't falling so fast, and stars began to appear. My stars popped up in many random and perfect places. My darkness actually brought them. Their light lit mine. Slowly I began to come back to life. The first stars were a grief therapist that was a medium who became my tutor. A Reiki healer who channeled Mother Mary became my Reiki master teacher. A yoga instructor that was the most compassionate person I had ever met in my life changed my life by guiding me to the light. There were many others, and they're still coming every day. People I meet from Zenkuda, the people watching right now. Each person came into my life and filled me with light so I could see more clearly. And I hope now I do that for others. They lit my dark and shined on my beast so I could face them. In doing so, I saw many illusions and broke free to a new and better reality. My biggest illusions were about the dark and the demons who lived there. I thought I was supposed to ignore them and that they'd go away. But they were waiting for me. Knowing my embrace was the only thing that could settle and still them. As long as I kept those beasts in the dark, they had such power over me, causing my free fall, eyes closed, afraid to look. If I had only let the stars reveal them sooner, I would have known who and what they were and reconciled them. They turned out to be the light of my darkness, just fragments of me, scared and helpless, nothing to fear and all to embrace. Like the sunset ebbing into darkness and darkness growing into a starry night, we are meant to merge with that darkness, integrate it and flow it into all our parts, into one giant sky over and over again, light to dark and to light again. And that's exactly what an eclipse is, guys. Light to dark and to light again. It's not life or the people in it that cause our suffering. We do that with our fearful choices. Yes, the darkness has a purpose. It's a great teacher, no less wiser than the sun. In our choice to see only one or clearly see both, we create a life. In our choice to be grateful for both, we find stars. And so I wanted to read that, and I hope I didn't bore you guys, but I wanted to read that because it's so, when I found it today, it was so key in this energy. It's really like what this energy is. So don't be afraid, whatever is releasing, whatever is compelling you to move on in your life, don't be afraid to do that. Because within that space, even though it may feel scary and like nothing is there, there are tiny little pinpoints of stars, of light, that are going to guide you. And when we're closed and in fear, those don't come to us. But when we open, those lights come through. And that's what Zenkuda and Soul Space is all about. And that's what I'm hoping this platform becomes about for you guys. And through here, and as we grow and maybe have events together and have online communities and classes and things that we do, we can come together and light the darkness for each other. And then when we have losses, they won't be so harsh. And when we have beautiful things and abundance in our life, we have people to share them with who truly see us and who truly can comfort us and acknowledge and validate who we are. And so it's just a really beautiful place to be sometimes, this darkness, if you can make friends of it with it and not fear it. and realize that, these things that we go through, whether they're a loss through death or loss of a loved one or a loss of, or an illness or a breakup with someone or a friendship that went south or whatever it might be, in that suffering, in that darkness, there's other things that will propel us forward and give us beautiful, beautiful light and beautiful, beautiful strength. It's not all about the suffering. It really isn't. And I know I'll still have hard times in my life. We all have things. I don't have a perfect life. I don't want a perfect life because that would mean that without challenge, I don't grow. Without challenge, I don't see truth. Without challenge, I can't get better at whatever I need to get better at. And it's my belief and the belief of this platform that through every lifetime, we have a higher potential. So I don't want to stagnate and get stuck in this lifetime. And that's what these eclipses are about. Saturn's pushing along with the sun, burning out, saying, oh, no, 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 you're not going to stay there. You're not going to stay stuck. No, you're not going to do that. I'm not going to allow it. Saturn's our authority. I'm not going to allow it. Break free from the conditioning. Break through from whatever limiting belief system is telling you you're not good enough to have a better future. You're not good enough to find a better job, a better partner, a better place to live. Just have better quality of life with peace in your life. Whatever is the theme that's going on for you right now, we can find that out through a chart. Just know that those things are being tweaked and prodded and poked so that you take care of them, okay? So we have a few minutes left, and I'm going to read some comments if there are any here. Kim says crazy things are going on, trying to exhale to relieve stress. Yeah, I got to tell you, everybody go back to yoga. Even if you just watch it online and do it in your living room, meditate, take time. Beautiful day today in the northeast of the United States where I live. The temperatures were almost up to 60. It was beautiful out. You could smell the fresh air. It was just so beautiful. I know in other parts of the world, I have people who watch me in South Africa and Ireland and Norway and Germany and everywhere across the states and across the world. And I know that for some of you, you're going into winter now, and that's okay. Winter brings its own contemplation and its own things. But wherever you are, try to get out there. Hey, Aaron made it. I guess you had a safe flight, Aaron. I was thinking of you all day today. Aaron was flying out. We did a reading for Aaron this weekend. So take some time to be contemplative, ground in nature. The Virgo full moon eclipse is in an earth sign, so you definitely want to go out and, ground, take your shoes and socks off and go out in the grass. If you're living in a still very cold climate, go out and, maybe go out in the snow and just, breathe in the beautiful cold air and allow that to refresh you. It's very important to do that and really go into an area where you are, where you feel grounded. Aaron's saying he's on my time now. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, Aaron normally is in Texas. So I have to say, a lot of you, I have to just shout out and send gratitude out. So much gratitude for you guys. I have people who have been watching me for years and years and years. And I just want to say thank you so much for supporting my work. And I hope my work supports you because that's really what it's all about. I mean, that's what it's all about. So I'm going to do some cards. I am actually going to pick a card for Marianne Sabatino because she hasn't been on a long time, and I see her coming back into soul space. So everybody send out some hearts up if you can and give Marianne some beautiful energy, and we're going to pick a couple of cards for Marianne. So what do we got here? My first card for you, Marianne, is the Judgment card. Now, you all know if you watch the show, the Judgment card does not mean you're in judgment. The Judgment card means that you are being rebirthed. So this is actually a card to go with this eclipse, definitely. The Aries eclipse is coming the end of the month. So this is about doing things a new way. You're really coming in, finding a new birth, new emergence, all right? And Marianne, definitely try and get in nature. I know you're a gardener. I remember that from a couple of years ago. So try and get out in the soil, especially if it's warm. Start turning over the soil because that very symbolically is about, coming into turning over things in the life and coming into new places where you can find inspiration, really, is what's going to happen. Put your hands in that soil. So the next card that we got is the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is about coming into a space, especially with someone in the family or someone who could be a very close friend, of gratitude and someone who gives you advice or has been there for you and is very supportive. And they come into during this time, could be during the eclipse, give or take a week or two, to really show you some support on a journey forward. So let go of the old paradigms, let go of the old conditioning, and look at I can't make this stuff up. The next card we get is the seven or eight of Pentacles. Let me look. Hold on a second. The Eight of Pentacles, and that is the figure walking away from an emotional situation to get abundance. When you see this card in tarot, it means that you're walking away of something that's been emotional for you. It's given you a lot of support. It maybe at one time was really something that was very important that you held very close in your heart. But it's time to walk away from that situation. And you've got support in your life, and you've also got new beginnings. So this is really, really cool. Thank you, Cheryl. She said that that I'm amazing. Thank you. I love you. Marie says, springing forward and on board. Yep, definitely so. Outgrow anything that you feel you have, and outdoors, anything that you feel you have outgrown, guys, let it go, release it. Step into that surrender of letting it go. Because whatever we outgrow right now, the universe is telling us. And if we don't allow it to leave and we don't do it kindly and gently, the universe will probably force it upon us. And I don't want to be, put any fear in your hearts. It's for a good reason, okay? All right, Aaron, you are the world traveler today, so we're going to give you a couple of cards. All right, let's pull a couple of cards for Aaron on his business trip this week. He is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, or is it Pittsburgh? Not sure. But if it's Philadelphia, you're in the right place because, our forefathers, a lot of stuff to see, but I think you were going to Pittsburgh. So you got the Queen of Wands, Aaron. This card always comes up for you, and this card is very Aries energy for me. So it's almost like I'm feeling intuitively, even though this card means something else in the traditional tarot. I feel like this card is a card telling me to tell you to kind of get zen, zen kuda. I know you got the kuda part down. Try and get a little more zen and not let your Aries come in too much this week, because be that queen on the throne. If you look at the, you can even look at it online. If you look at the Queen of Wands, she's just, she's a boss bitch. She's got it going on. She reminds me of Lilith, if any of you research Lilith, the asteroid. This is like someone who is calm, cool, and collected and owns the room. Next card is the Chariot. Moving forward, hun. All right? This means a decision comes. You're moving forward. When you see the Chariot, that means that the car that's been idling at the curb, waiting for you to get in, you called the Uber and it's out there, but you're still saying goodbye to people in the club. Say goodbye to those people and get in the damn Uber, because it's ready to take you to someplace special. It is ready to take you to your next chapter. That's what I say. So if the Uber is racing at the curb, waiting for you, get in it, because Chariot wants you to go forward and make your decision. And then the next card I got was the Ace of Pentacles, which is hard work paying off. Aaron, this is a great reading for you, and you know what it's about. I don't even have to say. But hard work pays off. Something's going to move forward in your life as long as you have control of that Aryan energy. We talked about that for you on Saturday during your reading. And you really want to make sure that you've got that Aries under control and you're using it for assertion, for strategy, and to, this isn't a race, it's a sprint. I mean, it isn't a sprint, it's it isn't a race or a sprint, there's a slow burn. This is like, get your strategy. You're not going to win a race in a day. This is about getting there, be methodical. Plant your seeds. All right, hon? So it looks like things are going to be good. Cheryl says she's been purging for months. Well, I think that if memory serves me right, I know you have Pisces in your chart, Cheryl. So, so that's good. Yeah, Aaron. And I've got Gina Coffin on today. I know Gina wasn't feeling well. I saw her post earlier. Everybody send some healing energy to Gina. Gina's the reason I do a podcast, actually. She called me up out of the blue and said, hey, you want to do a podcast? I know this studio. And I actually started at another studio, and now I'm here at Strong Island. And Bobby Lacera is my producer, and you guys should know I absolutely love him. Absolutely adore Bobby. He made a beautiful reel for me recently, and his work is impeccable. He is the best podcast producer on planet Earth. If you're thinking about doing a podcast, you better call him up. Love you too, Gina. I'm going to pull some cards for you, Gina, because I know you're not feeling well. And I feel like lately things haven't been going the way you want. But they're about to get better. So let's pull a card for you. You got the Three of Pentacles, which means someone in your life is supportive of you. I want to say don't like disregard that. Don't make that less than it is, because the person that's in your life right now giving you support, camera on the card step, please, Bob. The person in your life giving you support is really there for you. This isn't just a fleeting person. It could be a mom, it could be a spouse, but this is someone who's really been there for you. And the reason I say that is because the next card that we get is a Queen of Swords. So if you're going through some little, times when things just don't seem to go right, or there's things just aren't really, panning out the way you really want them, know that this card, the Queen of Swords, is a card where you do have the ability and you do have the power within you to make things correct and use your energy in the correct way. Same thing with the reading I just did for Aaron, using the energy in the correct way. Just take a step back, get yourself together, really strategize about the way that you want this to come, the way you want your future to be, because you have a lot of power and strength within you. You've just got a lot of noise around you. And again, same card, and you guys saw me shuffle these. You got the Chariot. So things will move forward if you can just ground in your own thing, because the Queen of Swords is someone who's really good in business, but also really good at like getting projects to move forward. And even if that project is something personal and some kind of self-development or something you want to do for yourself, it doesn't matter. The Queen of Swords comes in, organizes it all, and gets it all going on. You're going to find the right people to help you do that. That is the Three of Pentacles for you. And then once you really can strategize, put pen to paper, get your series of events that you want to do, make a list every day and check things off. That's where the power comes in. And then the Chariot moves forward. I'm going to pull a card just to confirm the energy here. And these are the same cards Aaron got. Hard work pays off. So things may not be happening in the time frame that you want them to. Release that. Every day move the train forward one wheel at a time if you have to, but move it forward. Okay? I'm going to do one more, and that is for, who should I pick? I'm going to do my Cheryl, because I know Cheryl's been working hard in her life to, get things to move forward. You guys see me shuffling right now, and we're putting up the Facebook comments as well. I've got Christine Camarada on. How are you doing, hun? I got, a lot of people on. Marie Lavone. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you are so inclined, share the show. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff on there. Okay, this is for Cheryl. Cheryl, I got the grief card for you. This is the grief, and I know we talked about that. I had run into you at a work event. Yeah, you got the grief card, but this is what I'm going to tell you about the grief card. When it comes into a reading for me this way, and he's facing the past, he's facing backwards, he's facing the energy that hasn't happened yet, because this is future energy for me. So this is the grief lessening up. You're in the grief, you faced it, which is great, because in the grief, we find our gratitude. We find the light. We find the stars. In the dark sky, we find the stars. So this is the grief card and the grief moving away from you. You've done the work. And this is the nostalgia card, but it came in upside down. So everything that you've been feeling nostalgia about and going back to the past and reliving things and, being in like memory fields, just know that this card is a card that says that you're almost done with that because it's in reverse. So the heaviness, the hard times are leaving you because you're doing the work. You're ready to do things a different way. And now we've got the Hermit. See? The Hermit shined his light on that. Beautiful spread. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Tarot always is great when you put your energy into it. So the grief leaving, the grief is going this way, right? You've got nostalgic, it's upside down, meaning it's in the past. You've been nostalgia, the overwhelm, the flooding in, the pouring, the waters that came, right? But now they've washed stuff away. The process was all about the Hermit holding up the lantern, shining it on the nostalgia, the grief. Look at this, Cheryl, look at this. Now that is lessening and it's over. The next card I got for you to confirm the reading is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is an action card. If you look at this, all of the staffs are behind him, and he's holding one with new growth on it. It means the worst is over, the battles are done, you're resting on your triumph, but there is also, beware, there's competition around you. So that could even mean that light and dark are competing, that you could get propelled back into the sadness again. But you want to move forward. This card is all about that. The new growth on the staff on this is action, action, action. He's done the battle. He's done the work. He's moving forward. He's looking towards the future. That's you. Battle over. Now you can start living again. So we're also going to go right to our affirmations. And we've got affirmations every week on the show. And this week, yep, that's it, Bob. This week, our affirmation is, I release what no longer serves me with gentleness and ease. Now, our first affirmation last week, if we leave that on the screen, Bob, the first affirmation last week was, I have the power to create the life I want. Now, you'll see two more spots open for March affirmations. And that's because next week we'll be giving you another one, and then the following week another one, because then in 2 weeks happens that Aries new moon eclipse. So we'll have our 4 affirmations to use during the new moon eclipse. But for now, going into the eclipse that happens Friday, use these 2 affirmations during that full moon and releasing of what you are releasing. I have the power to create my life, and I release what no longer serves me with gentleness and ease. And I'll put those up in our social media pages so that you guys can use them for Friday's full moon lunar eclipse. So I believe that's the show for tonight, unless anyone has anything they want for me to answer for you. I will tell you affirmations are really important. And the way we've been doing the affirmations on the soul space is they're sequenced so that you have, 4 affirmations. If there's 5 weeks, we'll do 5. But the affirmations are always there to align with the new moons and when you get the whole, all 4 of them. So you can use those first 2 for releasing, and then we'll be putting up 2 affirmations for the rest of the month that will be more about stepping into the future. This moon, the full moon, is about the release. When we have the new moon at the end of the month, it's about more. Cheryl says she's feeling spring in the air. Thank you. Yes, I am too. Definitely go out, no matter what climate you live in, and see if you can maybe ground yourself. This is going to be a very powerful eclipse, guys. It's going to be setting the pivotal moments up for 2025 and into 2026. We have a lot of changes this year. Please try to stay out of the fray. I know our U.S. stock market went crazy today and all kinds of things like that. This has not unfolded completely yet. We still have a lot of energy that's going to unfold this year. So whatever's happening right now globally will change. And whatever is happening in your life will also be changing, because we're all going to be propelled into a beautiful, beautiful new future. And just remember, when the sky grows dark, the stars come out. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll see you back in the soul space next Monday at 7 o'clock. And you can find me on zenkuda.com on the web if you want to book a reading, Zenkuda on YouTube, and of course, Zenkuda Soul Space on Facebook and Zenkuda Official on Instagram. Bye, guys. See you next show. Hi, everybody. It's Georgia Rose from Zenkuda, and here is our beautiful new website, zenkuda.com. So I want to show you a little bit and give you a tour of this beautiful site that we have. And everything is all in one place now, and you can do everything Zenkuda right on our website. So when you log into the homepage, there's a little space here where you can go right to Zenkuda Astrology, online classes, or book a reading or coaching session with me. Not only do I offer astrology readings and coaching sessions, but I also do tarot work and all kinds of things to help you get in touch with your own soul space and living Zenkuda. There's also a place here where I describe my journey and what it was like for me to actually found the Zenkuda community and be able to bring you all of the healing techniques that we do and the philosophies of evolutionary astrology, spiritual wisdom, and yoga. And you can read about what my journey was like. And in addition to that, if you go on to book a reading, you can actually book a reading for any session that you really would like to have. For instance, a 1-hour astrology chart reading, a tarot card reading. I also do synastry chart readings for couples. And I can also do a long distance healing meditation and Reiki session. And you can even purchase our Circle of Light Oracle cards, which were created by myself in order to put healing and light into your day. If you go back up, there's also a space where we're going to be putting our online classes. Those will be very, very soon. If you'd like to be informed about those online classes, about astrology and spirituality, yoga, all sorts of things, you can join our wait list and just give us your email, and we'll be sure to let you know exactly when classes will be starting. And this button here brings you right to the Soul Space podcast. You can now watch the Soul Space live or past Soul Space podcast right on our zenkuda.com page. You can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube and enjoy every minute and never miss a show. So I hope you'll look at this beautiful website. I'm also writing blogs about my journey, and we're in the process of importing all the older blogs that I've written in the last 5 to 10 years right on our Rose blog page, which is my beautiful blog. And you can, anytime you want, just come in and read all about my own journey to finding Zenkuda. If you want to work with me in a small or large group, or book me for reading, or doing a gallery style reading or a public speaking event or even a retreat, you can do that on our Work with Georgia page. And hopefully we can help you create your future with some coaching or some astrology workshops. So that is our beautiful zencuda.com site. I hope you'll be on there. We're also developing a space for community on there where you can learn more about astrology and spirituality and all kinds of things, and we can support each other on our beautiful, beautiful journey to finding our own soul space and living Zencuda.